Welcome to Trashmagination, a podcast about reimagining trash. I'm Carla Brown. In today's episode, we'll talk about the colorful plastic beads that people throw as part of Mardi Gras celebrations. Tuesday, March 5th is Mardi Gras this year. Here's some info about Mardi Gras. The words Mardi Gras means Fat Tuesday in French, which relates to the celebration of Lent. People used to eat up all their animal fat on Fat Tuesday because they would not eat it during the 40 days of Lent. And nowadays, a lot of people eat pancakes. In New Orleans, Mardi Gras is the last day of a whole season of celebrations that started back in January. There are parades with floats, and people throw colorful beaded necklaces to the crowds. These are called throws. They are often purple, green, and gold. Purple represents justice, green represents faith, and gold represents power. This tradition of throwing items started in 1870. They were mostly candies or bonbons back then. In 1909, some participants started throwing gold-colored walnuts, coconuts, and later beads. Back then, you were lucky if you caught a throw. It was very rare to catch one. The fanciest ones were made from glass beads. But in the 1960s, the groups that organized Mardi Gras, or crews, started to throw plastic beads. This changed the value of throws from quality to quantity. People expected to catch large quantities of throws instead of cherishing a few really nice ones. Unfortunately, there is a very big environmental impact caused by these plastic bead throws. The first impact is obvious. It creates a lot of litter. Every year, 20 million pounds of plastic beads are shipped to the United States, primarily from China, with 75% of them going to Louisiana. In 2018, the New Orleans Sanitation Department picked up 1,200 tons of litter after Mardi Gras, and a lot of it was throws. They scoop them off the street with front loaders, similar to what you see removing snow after a snowstorm, and these clog local waterways. And if that was not bad enough, there is a lot of evidence that just handling these throws could be bad for your health. Many of these beads contain lead at levels that are concerning to anyone, but especially if handled by children. They also contain high levels of bromine, which can cause birth defects, and antimony, which can cause stomach distress. High levels of lead have been found in the areas near Mardi Gras celebrations after all the throws have been thrown. If you have ever given these beads to kids, you know they put them in their mouth. They also handle them with their hands and then eat without washing their hands. I have seen these necklaces given to children as pirate's booty at museums or birthday parties, or to hold name tags. These necklaces can also be found often around food at Mardi Gras parties. I've seen displays where beads are laying over cupcakes or around the straws of cocktails. There is also the question of how these beads are made. A documentary called Mardi Gras, Made in China, shows the working conditions of the people making these beads. And if you watch this documentary, you will never want to catch those beads again. When I first thought about doing a podcast episode about this topic, I was excited about all the craft ideas to make with these beads. But now I'm concerned about suggesting them at all. I would not want to encourage you to touch them. This is actually a really good point with creative reuse overall. We need to research the materials that we are collecting to ensure that they are safe to handle, especially if you're going to collect these materials in large quantities for use in a big creative reuse project, or if you're going to use them in crafts that you do with children. So while you will see some craft ideas on my Pinterest board for Mardi Gras beads, I hope you will get inspired to not purchase or creatively reuse the plastic beads that are most commonly thrown. Instead, I hope you will get inspired to make your own Mardi Gras beads from non-toxic materials. Also, I want to tell you about a bunch of people who are trying to change the culture around these plastic beads, so Mardi Gras can still be a lot of fun without putting the environment and children in danger. My favorite non-toxic Mardi Gras bead designs involve rolling strips of newspaper or magazine into beads and then painting them. You can buy beads made this way from Atlas Beads. These beads are made by women in Uganda. Obviously, these beads are much more expensive than plastic throws. The owner of Atlas Beads is part of a Mardi Gras crew that picks up trash during Mardi Gras. They are called the trash formers, and they ride bikes with shopping carts attached painted green. There is also a company called Our Place Promotions, which makes a line of paper beads called Throw Me Something Green. If you want to make your own Mardi Gras beads from paper, I'll link to a tutorial on the blog Alpha Mom. Another way to make non-toxic throws is by sewing pasta necklaces. You can change the color of dried pasta by soaking it in vinegar and food coloring. I will link to a tutorial on that. Other people made Mardi Gras beads by cutting up colorful straws, hopefully not new ones. Using the shells or straws would give a similar feel as the plastic beads, and they are less expensive than wooden beads. Now I'll share a design for Mardi Gras beads that I created with items from my own creative reuse collections. I noticed that my mesh produce bags were purple, green, and orange, so I thought they might be a great option for creatively reuse into throws. I found that the produce bags stretched into a big loop, which was about the size of a necklace, but it didn't have any heft like a typical throw. I remembered a necklace making technique that I saw by Natalie Channon, which is featured in a course on Creative Bug. Natalie is an incredible designer who has revitalized her community in Alabama by making a slow fashion business, hiring local people with her beautiful hand-sewn clothing designs. So Natalie's course is called The Knotted Necklace, and she makes it from recycled strips of t-shirt material. She ties the strips into many knots which look like beads. I tried doing this with my produce mesh bags, but again, they didn't have as much heft as a t-shirt fabric. So that's when I decided to take colorful plastic tablecloths and cut them into little squares, which I folded up into little balls. And I would wrap the little tablecloth balls into the produce mesh, and I would wrap it nice and tight so it made a little ball, and then I tied a knot to keep it from moving. I have a lot of colorful plastic tablecloths because when I attend community events, they are often thrown away after the event. So I scoop them up and I usually weave them on my loom into plastic bag mats. My first one looks a little rough, but I hope to improve it over time. So if you collect plastic produce bags and can get your hands on matching colorful plastic tablecloths or plastic bags, you could do this craft as well. If you have Mardi Gras beads already, there are quite a few crafts on my Pinterest board that you could make with them. I would just encourage you not to make these with children or give them to children. But at this point, incorporating these beads into mosaics or wreaths might be the best option for creative reuse. If you live in New Orleans or other cities in the South where they have Mardi Gras, another option is to purchase beads secondhand. There are organizations that collect the beads after each year's celebration. They clean them up, sort them, and repackage them for resale. One organization is called ARC, and it provides employment to people with intellectual disabilities. ARC sells these creatively reused beads in many places in Florida, Alabama, and Louisiana. In the New Orleans area, the Krispy Kreme stores collect beads after Mardi Gras for ARC, and schools get involved as well. There is a professor at Louisiana State University who is working on a Mardi Gras bead that is non-toxic and biodegradable. His name is Naohiro Kato. He was inspired after talking with the documentary filmmaker David Redman, who made that film Mardi Gras Made in China. He is a plant scientist, and he is making biodegradable plastic beads from microalgae. Currently, his beads cost 10 times more to make than the plastic beads, but he's going to produce 3,000 necklaces in 2020, and hopefully enough Mardi Gras enthusiasts are willing to pay more for a sustainable Mardi Gras necklace. There is also an organization called Verdi Gras, which is working with many people to make Mardi Gras a more environmentally friendly event. There are aspects of Mardi Gras that are very much about creative reuse. There is an event called the Courrier de Mardi Gras or the Mardi Gras Run, where people dress up in costumes made from all sorts of recycled materials. These costumes are similar to what people wear in the province where I was born, which is Newfoundland, when we do our tradition of mummering. These traditions involve dressing up with whatever you can find, to the point where your friends and family cannot recognize you. The original spirit of Mardi Gras, or Fat Tuesday, was to not waste animal fat and to eat it all up before Lent. So the original spirit of the event is totally in line with Trashmagination. Thank you for listening. I would love to hear how you creatively reuse materials to make your Mardi Gras beads. If you could email me at trashmagination@gmail.com. Until next time, may you see opportunities for creative reuse during Mardi Gras.